Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the Rintrah Build-A-Figure wave. This is Master Mordo. Before I get into any part of the review, I want to give a big shout out to ToySnowman.com. It is run by Amir. He has a YouTube channel, link in the video description below, and then a referral link in the video description below to save you to get you a 5% off coupon when you create an account. But Toy Snowman up in Canada, so again, heads up with that. Toy Snowman is based in Canada, but Amir was nice enough to give me a heads up, say, hey, I got the Doctor Strange wave, and then so I put in my order and he shipped it out right away, and I got it in this morning, and I'm super excited for this wave because there are MCU figures in there. So I know if you guys follow me or subscribed already, we've looked at Wong, we've looked at America Chavez. Here we have Master Mordo, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. I had to look it up. But this figure looks amazing, and I think it's one that is going to surprise some folks because, you know, of course, Doctor Strange, it's awesome. Wong, it's finally a Wong figure. America Chavez, new character. But Mordo, a huge difference compared to what we got before. Not that the previous figure was a bad figure, but the likeness to the actor wasn't fantastic, and just looked kind of generic. This figure is crazy detailed and looks really cool. I don't know how the articulation is going to be yet, but he looks pretty damn awesome and one of the best head sculpts that Hasbro has given us in an MCU figure. So that is pretty damn exciting if you ask me. We get the movie logo for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. You can see we have some interchangeable hands. We got one that looks like the right arm to the Rintrah Build-A-Figure, an additional hand for the BAF. Crossbow there, Doctor Strange logo up at the top, Build-A-Figure Rintrah. Looking at the side artwork of Chiwetel as Master Mordo, Baron Mordo, Carl Mordo. Pretty interesting. It's interesting that they're calling him Master Mordo instead of Baron Mordo, like he was in the comics. So, you know, just something to think about. But the bio reads, Mordo has gone rogue since leaving Carmitage, hunting other sorcerers for breaking the laws of reality, and is never far off the trail of Doctor Strange. So it's nice to kind of go back to that story, which started the post-credit scene of the first Doctor Strange movie. So I'm very interested in how that's going to connect into this movie when it seems like there's so much going on, but only time will tell and we shall see. Here on the wave, I've really kind of chopped it up and going different ways with this. So we looked at Wong, America Chavez, now we're on Master Mordo. I am going to circle back on the next video to the Doctor Strange figure to compare that with the No Way Home to see which one really is better, because the No Way Home one is definitely hard to beat. And then we'll go into and finish the Astral Form and then into the comic figures of Despair and Sleepwalker. So there it is. Let's get this guy out of the box. Okay, so here is the Master Mordo figure out of the package. Some really cool things on this figure. Lots of really nice details. So it's pretty crazy. Looking at the Build-A-Figure piece, this is, again, the right arm to the Rintrah Build-A-Figure. He is the Minotaur dude, the green bull looking guy. So we get a right arm, open hand, and then a fist. So we're going to stick that off to the side. We'll take a look at the Build-A-Figure all in its own video. At the end, we have several different accessory pieces for Mordo. We have a crossbow here. When we take a closer look at the figure, we'll take a closer look at the weapons, but crossbow with some crazy detail on there. We have the staff of the Living Tribunal. We saw this in the first Doctor Strange movie, so it's cool that we get it this time. That'd be cool if it extended out a little bit. And then we also get 4 additional hands. So he has kind of these open magic using-ish hands, but then we also get fists for Mordo. And then we get a 2 trigger finger hands, which would be for the crossbow, of course. But they could also be used to hold the staff of the Living Tribunal. So that'll work out quite well. But yeah, Mordo figure looking really nice. Again, some really cool details in here. But I gotta say, what is up with the single jointed elbows? That kind of threw me off a little bit, and hopefully that's something that we don't see too often for Marvel Legends. I don't want them going the way of Black Series and going to a lot of single jointed elbows. I'm hoping, and again, I really hope the only reason for that is so they can have a better sculpt of the sleeve, because I think a double jointed elbow for this sleeve would have looked tricky, or, you know, they could have shortened it up, but then it wouldn't look right. hopefully that is simply just a design choice, and not something that we see going forward with a lot of movie figures. I really, really hope we don't. But we shall see. But let's get in for a closer look at Mordo and the accessories, because they're done really, really nicely. Lots of great detail. Okay, so the staff of the Living Tribunal, there. We get this nice brown color in here, and then just black handles. Again, this is, you know, he's talking to Doctor Strange when they're doing the training, and he says, you know, lots of different relics are imbued with magic, or energy. I forget his exact wording, but the staff of the Living Tribunal, and he extends it out, you know, and he kind of whips it around, and you can see like that orange magic effect in there. So that's cool that we get it this time around. That looks pretty good. And then what's new that it's got to be in this movie this time around is this crossbow. And if you look, we get a nice silver paint in there. The crossbow portion is done in a gray plastic, but we do get some silver paint in there. It's done all in like this brown color, but look at the texture detail that's sculpted in there. It's an odd design, but it's nice that we get, you know, the sculpt, a little bit of effort in that sculpt and whatnot, because that looks pretty good. There, looking at the other side. So that is pretty cool. But here, we want to look at the Mordo figure. Look at that head sculpt. That looks dead on Chiwetel and Geofor. God, it's hard to pronounce. I watched an interview and he says that he understands it's a complicated name, so I think he's used to people mispronouncing it, but, you know, whenever possible, we should pronounce it correctly. One thing that this figure does that the previous figure did not is, you see the scars on the forehead. Those are actual scars that the actor has. That's not something that's going to be specific to the movie. When I'd seen it, I'm like, well, I wonder what happened to his face, because, you know, I didn't remember the old figure having it. As you can see, it's definitely not there. Whereas you see some likeness to the actor because he was clean shaven and clean cut and stuff. They didn't do anything with the scars. And I don't remember them from the movie, but, you know, looking at images and that interview in particular, you definitely see those scars. So it's nice that Hasbro added, you know, the paint detail in there for the scars. But yeah, I think this head sculpt just looks absolutely fantastic. One of Hasbro's best. Hasbro knocks it out of the park most of the time. There are times where it doesn't quite get it right. This is one of those times where they absolutely nailed it. So kudos to them, because that looks fantastic. You can see here he's got long braided hair. That's going to be new, because it's going to be a number of years. I would imagine maybe, you know, he didn't blip in those 5 years he was running around, you know, finding sorcerers and putting an end to their schemes and whatever else they might be going, or what his plan is in the movie. You know, those are things that we still have got to learn. If you look here, we got a sling ring there attached to his sash belt, and that looks pretty good. We get some nice gold paint in there, some brown paint, kind of a black color for that piece. The skirt piece is done pretty nicely. It's not solid, it's kind of broken up and stuff. Here in the back it's a little bit wider, but it allows for some movement of the legs, which is nice. Some gold paint going down on the ends of there. That looks pretty good. But check this out. Whatever this cloth piece here is, look at the painted detail in there. Lots of line work and everything in there. And it came out looking really, really nice. Hasbro did a really good job there. It doesn't look like thrown off. And now the texture, you know, matches the paint. And kind of like the Druid figure from the Eternals, for the most part, the paint is on there with each line of the sculpt and stuff. It's not perfect everywhere, but those little tiny details, I can't imagine that it's easy for any machine to make sure that they're hitting those spots properly, along with the curves and everything of the sculpt. It must be crazy, but, you know, it looks really damn good. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some out there that are probably going to look bad, so heads up on that. Hopefully you guys can get a good one, but on mine, looks really, really nice. Looking at these pieces here, these pieces are glued on there, but they're done in like this yellow translucent plastic. It's kind of hard to explain. I wonder what those are supposed to be, you know, why it's like this added piece on top of the suit that he's wearing. It's interesting. The same plastic is used for these gauntlet pieces here. It's like this yellow translucent plastic. I'm not sure what they are for, but they look really good. There's some sculpted detail in there too. It's really small. It's kind of hard to make out, but yeah, it looks really, really nice. But the sculpt of everything here looking really, really good. There's no diaphragm joint or anything, but the waist is on a ball joint, so you can get a lot of natural looking movement in there. You're just, you know, it's going to be a little limited, but he just looks really damn good. So let's go ahead and zoom out and we'll take a look at his articulation. Okay, so Mordo's articulation, so his head is on a dumbbell joint, so he's only going to be able to look down that much, not a whole lot, and a little bit of the hair, that part that comes over in the front, is going to hinder that a little bit, so only down that much. Up is going to be damn near impossible because of his long hair. You get some good natural looking pivot going on in there, and you can turn to the side a little bit, but the hair is definitely going to get in the way. Shoulder, you can get the arm to go up and out. Basically straight out. You can do a full rotation, you just have to kind of watch out for the shoulder pad portion of this jacket. And the jacket is removable, and I will show you that here. I just kind of have to work it. I haven't gotten a chance to take it off yet, but it's going to require a little bit of work. Single jointed elbow, like I had mentioned before, so we get a swivel at the elbow. No bicep swivel, unfortunately. With that single elbow, you can actually hyperextend a little bit, and then you're only going to get actually a decent amount of bend, a little bit more than 90 degrees on that single jointed elbow. And again, I think it's because they don't want to break up the sculpt of this jacket sleeve there. At least that's what I'm kind of going with. I mean, we'll kind of see if that's really the reason. Or I guess we won't see, but that's what I think is the reason. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge. They all have the horizontal hinge. There is a ball joint at the waist, so he can pivot to his left that much, which is really good. Pivot to the right that much, which is really good. Going back, the jacket does kind of hinder that and blocks it a little bit, but it can't go back a whole lot anyway. Coming forward, you get that much going forward, and then you swivel at that ball joint, of course. And that looks pretty good there. Legs go out that far apart, so you can see it kind of hinders a little bit this way because this leg goes out a lot more than the left leg. Kicking forward is going to be a problem for his left because there's a lot more of this rubber plastic there. But with the right, you can kick straight out. So again, it's not hindered too much, a little bit, not too much. Upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee, like so. And I'm trying to think, there's some detail in his pant legs, and I don't think we've seen these legs before, but I am going to have to kind of go back and see if they reused, because it's odd that they have pins. You would think new sculpts at this point should be pinless, and there's no way that these figures were planned that long ago. So I'm going to have to go back and kind of see if these have been reused from something. It's definitely not reused parts from this older figure at all, so I kind of have to see. Maybe Doctor Strange, maybe they use the same legs. I'm not really sure. Swivel at the boot. Foot hinges all the way down. You get some hinge going up, but the top of the foot hits that boot. Ankle pivot pickles at the bottom of the feet. So decent articulation. There is some, hindrance at the legs, and then that ball joint only gets you so far when trying to crouch forward or lean forward or anything like that. But overall, pretty good. If only all figures could get that waist ball joint, that would be awesome. And then a diaphragm on top of that, because then you could really get some good motion. But as he is now, pretty good. Okay, so on camera, we're going to see if we can kind of get this jacket to come off and how it's going to look. So we're going to get the arms to go back, and then you're going to kind of fold the jacket over the shoulders. Let's pop his head off. That's going to be a little bit easier, I think, to work around as well. So get the arms back, and then kind of position them over, stretch a little bit. I mean, if you heat this up, it'd probably work out a little bit better, but we're going for it. We're going for it. So yes, those sleeves, the jacket does come off, but the sleeves are definitely made to go with the jacket because they are a different shade of green to what he is wearing. A lot of times when we see stuff like that where there's some kind of overlay over it, what ends up happening is he has a very narrow torso that you wouldn't notice when he's wearing the jacket, but once you take it off, it's like, what is going on? Perfect example of that would be the Heimdall figure from Avengers Endgame or Thor Ragnarok. I guess it could work for either of them, but he has that overlay on that he wears in Thor Ragnarok, and then once you take that off, he's got a very, very narrow torso. So this kind of, again, kind of falls victim to that. It's not terrible, but it is definitely noticeable. Nothing going on in the back of the figure, by the way. These yellow translucent pieces just kind of stop right over the shoulder. Maybe it's part of the jacket, though. I'm not really sure. But definitely need to get that jacket back on for a much better looking figure. Yeah, it's definitely going to drive me crazy about these legs, because I don't know where these legs came from and why they wouldn't be pinless if they were going to be all new. Kind of interesting. At first I thought maybe Drax, but they are not the same. So, it is interesting. I'm not sure. Talk about a huge difference from the first Doctor Strange movie to the second Doctor Strange movie. Wow, you could see how far Hasbro has come in the figures that they are producing. You know, you get a lot of shininess over here, where you get a lot of matte finishes over here. The head sculpt, the technology has come a long way, whereas before, you know, they didn't have a digital face print to make it a little bit better. The sculpting itself, you know, I don't know if they use 3D scans or kind of how that worked, you know, back then compared to what it is now, but man, it's crazy in the difference. And, you know, here we had this diaphragm cut that was kind of ugly and boxy looking, whereas here, you know, it's kind of curvy and natural looking at a ball joint at the waist. So it's pretty insane. And then the texture detail that they put in a lot of the MCU figures, whereas like his pants have some texture, all these rubber overlay pieces are textured, his torso is textured. This figure didn't have really any texture at all, except for like the belt piece, and that was it. So, man, Hasbro has really come a long way. Okay, so I haven't removed the Doctor Strange figure from this wave out of the package yet, but here is the Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home, and this figure, again, is really nice one. It's going to be hard to beat with this wave's Doctor Strange, specific to the second movie. One thing that I do want to point out is the two skirt pieces. One thing that I was like, man, that's so cool. I love that Hasbro did this, is the sculpted sling ring in the sash belt of Doctor Strange. And it looks so good, but damn it, look at the one on Mordo, is so much more noticeable. They did it a lot bigger, the nice gold paint on there, and it's just very subtle on the Doctor Strange one. So even between these two waves, which, you know, essentially this wave comes out, this is kind of the next wave-ish, if you don't include Spider-Man Retro. And it's a huge night and day difference, so that came out looking awesome. I'd have to double check the Doctor Strange one if it's kind of a similar case, which it could be, and it is, and wow, it looks way better. Yeah, you know what? The new Doctor Strange looks pretty good. I still think I'm going to go with this one, though. But, yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. But let's see Master Mordo with the other figures from the movie that I have reviewed so far. Okay, and we have Wong, America Chavez, and the Master Mordo, specifically from this wave, specifically from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. As you can see, I left a little bit of room to add in Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch from the Disney Plus wave, the Captain America Flight Gear Build-A-Figure. So we have Scarlet Witch there. Let's throw Doctor Strange in the back there, so I can't wait to open the new Doctor Strange figure. No telling if we're gonna get a new Scarlet Witch figure for the movie. I would imagine, because we just got this one, that we wouldn't. But I know that we just got Doctor Strange for Spider-Man No Way Home, and then another Doctor Strange in this wave. Yes, he is the title character, so of course he would, whereas Wanda, maybe not so much, because she is not the title character of the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And then in WandaVision, it was shared with Vision. But, you know, who knows? We could see something. She wears red. Maybe we'll get a Target exclusive Wanda. Who knows? So remember that in this video. If that happens, I called it early. That's the only thing I can see, because why would they want to keep such an important character out of it, unless it's because we just too soon and we got one, or if they do an exclusive, which, you know, if there is a Scarlet Witch, hopefully that would not be an exclusive, because I think a lot of people would want to get that, especially because I think this one sold really well. I hardly ever saw it in stores. So only time will tell. We shall see. But there is the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness figures. When we look at the Doctor Strange, I will show you guys all of them together again. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think of them so far. Okay, that was my review of the Master Mordo figure. I think it's definitely a sleeper hit of the wave. We'll see how they handle the character in the movie, but the figure is really, really well done. So many really awesome details. Head sculpt that is just top notch. Some of the best that Hasbro has done. Really, really like it. A big flaw in this figure, however, is the crossbow. Because we don't get vertically hinged hands, it's difficult for him to kind of use this. So he can kind of hold it off to the side and hold it with two hands, sure. Whoops. I don't think it's supposed to do this. Oh, maybe. Looks like it comes out and then it wasn't really glued in there. So, I don't know, mistakenly came across that. Doesn't look like I kind of broke any glue. So it just kind of sits in there. That's interesting. But so Mordo is trying to use the crossbow, but if you get that arm straight out, single jointed elbow is a little bit tricky. This is how he holds it. So you point it down and like that. That doesn't really make sense. You would have your arm out, but then he points up. So it's just kind of tricky, I guess, just depending on angles of how you do it. If we had a vertically hinged wrist, that would kind of fix some of that problem. Whereas you kind of have it straight out and he's just pointing it up. So that kind of sucks there, but other than that, solid figure. Looks really, really, really nice. But you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of this figure. Are you excited for the movie? Curious to see where it goes when it comes to Mordo. I can't wait for the movie. It sucks that it was delayed, but you know, hopefully, well, in March we'll have Moon Knight to kind of hold us over, because I think Doctor Strange is going to be coming out in May, if I remember correctly. So a little bit more time, kind of having withdrawals now that Hawkeye's over. No MCU content. Spider-Man had passed. Eternals at least on Disney Plus. Hopefully Spider-Man No Way Home will get the digital release soon. I think it's all at the end of February though. I need some more MCU content, but at least I have the action figures. And again, shout out to toysnowman.com. I have a referral link in the video description below. It will give you a 5% off coupon once you create an account. So Amir at Toy Snowman, he had the Doctor Strange. He had a few cases still available, in stock and available. But as soon as I posted on Instagram and I had put the link and everything, he sold out. So people used the link and you know, bought the figures and sold out. So just a heads up on that. You got to follow me on Instagram so you can kind of stay up to date on some of those things. It is based in Canada, so with the conversion and stuff, prices are a little bit higher because in Canada the figures are higher priced. But you would get it much earlier. We don't know exactly when some of these figures will release in the US. Target stores have begun to receive Wong, America Chavez, Despair, and Sleepwalker, but not a single sighting of Mordo, not a single sighting of the Astral Form Doctor Strange, or the actual movie Doctor Strange figure yet. Who knows? They could show up soon. We really don't know. My local Target said Master Mordo is expected in February. So again, we shall see. Sometimes that stuff will come in earlier than that. Sometimes it comes in later. But that is it. You guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this figure. Let me know about the review. If you liked it, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.